So, I've been playing in the online ranked double battles for Pokemon Sword and Shield for this new June season, and at some point during the season, I reached top 25, top 24 more specifically, and after that, I felt compelled to share a little bit about my team, share what's made it so successful, and see if that might help anyone out with anyone else who's trying to get as high of a ranking as possible in the Master Ball tier. So top 25 might actually be the ceiling for my team because I've seen a few losses recently, but in general though, I think it's a pretty successful team. It's the best team I've ever built, and the strategy for it essentially is to slowly chip away at the opposing team and cripple the entire team until I'm ready to bring Gyarados out to finish sweeping. And the key point for this team is to try as much as possible to be the last one to Dynamax, and ideally by the time Gyarados Dynamaxes, or anyone else on my team, the other team has already finished their Dynamax turns. So part of that is trying to stall out their Dynamax turns as much as possible until I'm ready to bring out Gyarados. That way it minimizes the amount of potential damage that Gyarados takes while he's supporting the team with max airstream, and also sweeping in his own right. So you'll notice here, one of the key Pokemon on this team actually is Dubwool. And some notes about Dubwool. It catches a lot of people off guard, first of all, which is great because like I think half the time no one really knows what my Dubwool is gonna do. Half the time they ignore it, which is actually great because it helps me set up Dubwool. And if you were to have Dubwool on your team and you get it properly set up with Cotton Guard with this current moveset here, you can wall pretty much almost all most relevant physical attackers in the meta. But not only can you wall them, you can also sweep them with body press. So the types of physical attackers I'm talking about are probably a lot of the Pokemon that you're familiar with, like Belly Drum Snorlax, Rhyperior, Conkeldurr, Dracovish, Dracozolt, Excadrill, Tyranitar, Ferrothorn, Corviknight, Braviary, and even physical Dragapult because it has Payback. And after you set it up with Cotton Guard, with the help of Gyarados' max airstream, it obviously gets some speed boosts. So not only can it wall all these physical attackers and take very minimal damage from them, it can also eventually outspeed most Pokemon with maybe 2 max airstreams, and 1 body press after you use 2 Cotton Guards is enough to dent a lot of other Pokemon. Like it will one-hit KO non-Dynamax Snorlax, it will one-hit KO Excadrill unless it has Focus Sash, it will one-hit KO Tyranitar, it will 2-hit KO Conkeldurr in most situations, it will one-hit KO Dracovish, it will one-hit KO Dracozolt. Like any physical attacker, at least that isn't a fairy type or a ghost type, you can one-hit KO with Dubwool if it has both Cotton Guards set up. So the only thing, the other notes I have about Dubwool is that it's actually it's not afraid of Intimidate. And online you're gonna see a lot of Arcanines with Intimidate. You're gonna see a lot of Incineroars with Intimidate, but this moveset I have right here, with the exception of Payback, Body Press is not affected by Intimidate. So Dubwool is actually a very good Pokemon to use when, 1, there's an Intimidate user on the other team, and 2, there's no special fire Pokemon on the other team like Charizard, Torkoal, Chandelure, or Modest Arcanine, because its ability Fluffy actually makes it 2 times weak to fire. So It still has some problems with drought teams, so you probably wouldn't be using Dubwool against drought teams, and depending on how you set up against Cinderace, it may or may not be able to be successful, but that's really up to you on how you can get Dubwool set up properly to not only wall, but also sweep with Body Press. The second Pokemon here is Grimmsnarl. A lot of you are probably familiar with Prankster Grimmsnarls with dual screen support. So the dual screens help primarily Dubwool with staying alive, especially against special sweepers, because with my current EV spread, it is not good against special sweepers, especially Togekiss, because Togekiss is 4 times not effective when taking Body Press. And not only do the dual screens help with supporting the rest of the team with taking as least amount of damage as possible, Thunder Wave really helps a lot with crippling certain teams that don't have Misty Terrain or Psychic Terrain, and it really helps my team outspeed a lot of Pokemon if I'm able to get Thunder Wave off. And then Spirit Break, the decision with this move is actually for more support, but also a stab move. Spirit Break lowers the special attack of any Pokemon that it's used on, so this also helps with keeping Pokemon like Dubwool alive against special attackers. The third Pokemon here is the main Dynamax Pokemon on my team. It's Gyarados, and it's a physical sweeper, but it's also a support. And I have the Moxie ability here rather than Intimidate because since it is my primary Dynamax user, it gets an attack boost each time it kills a Pokemon, and my Gyarados is an Adamant Nature with 252 attack EVs, so believe it or not, one max Airstream or one max Geyser actually one-hit KOs a lot of Pokemon even without a Dragon Dance boost. So not only can it KO a lot of Pokemon pretty fast, but max Airstream also helps set up the rest of the sweepers on my team. So with 1 or 2 speed boosts, it prepares Cinderace for wrecking the rest of the opponent team, or even Togekiss. A really fast, modest Togekiss can really dent teams with Dazzling Gleam, especially with Super Luck and Scope Lens. But yeah, essentially Gyarados is not only the main physical sweeper on my team, but it also supports the rest of my sweepers with speed boosts. Togekiss here is also a support and my main special sweeper. As I said earlier, this is a modest nature with no speed EVs, and this is to maximize its special attack and also increase bulk, which helps a lot because sometimes I find myself in situations where I'll have Gyarados out and Togekiss out, and using Follow Me helps me boost Gyarados with at least 1 Dragon Dance, which is usually enough before I decide to Dynamax. So yeah, it's a bulky special sweeper with a modest nature, and the reason why there's no speed EVs, also no focus on speed, is because again, Gyarados helps me set it up with max Airstream. So this Togekiss is not only bulky, but it's also very powerful as a special attacker. So Dazzling Gleam or even Heat Wave against both of the opposing Pokemon really hurts the other team, especially if the critical hit chance is high. The fifth Pokemon here is Arcanine. I would also say this is both also a support Pokemon and a special sweeper. It's mainly used for support. I have Snarl and Intimidate on Arcanine, which is really helpful for crippling certain special attackers so that Dubwool can stay alive in order for it to be able to set up with Cotton Guard and sweep its way through with Body Press. I would say Snarl is probably my most used special attack here with Arcanine. It's actually, from what I can see, usually more used than Heat Wave. However, my Arcanine is also a modest nature with no speed EVs. So 252 HP EVs, 252 special attack EVs with a modest nature. So that helps it not only be bulky, but also be a really strong special attacker, which is really great because, again, in those situations where maybe I'm not using Togekiss, Gyarados will help speed boost my Arcanine for really powerful Heat Waves and really powerful Snarls. So Snarl helps a lot against opposing Togekiss, opposing Duraludon, Primarina even, and any other really strong special attackers in the current meta right now. And occasionally, sometimes I'll also be using Helping Hand under certain situations. It's usually for my Dynamax Gyarados if I know Arcanine is gonna die on the next turn in Trick Room, for example, and if I can't use Protect, then the only other thing I can do is use Helping Hand so that whoever my next Pokemon is, once Arcanine dies after using Helping Hand, that Pokemon will have some attack boost. And then my last Pokemon here is actually my least used Pokemon, which is Cinderace. It's using the new ability that just came out actually for the Galarian starters. So Cinderace is primarily only a physical sweeper here. There's not much support it does because I don't use the bounce moveset. So Cinderace is really only cares about itself here. However, it can be useful for scaring away Chlorophyll Venusaur, Ferrothorn, other grass types, and even certain other steel types like Corviknight. So usually if you're seeing a Ferrothorn on the other team or a Venusaur, you'll probably want to take out Cinderace. In the case of a drought team, I usually lead with Cinderace because a lot of times those drought teams tend to lead with Venusaur. But another note about the Cinderace is that against drought teams, Cinderace can single-handedly dent Pokemon without Dynamaxing, only with its Pyro Ball, because of course in the drought weather, fire moves see a significant boost there. So Cinderace usually doesn't Dynamax on my team. When I do use it, it's still usually only Gyarados. However, there will be situations where I might need to Dynamax with Cinderace, but that depends entirely on the other team composition. So, but with the way my Cinderace is built, it's 252 attack EVs with an Adamant Nature. It does have 252 speed EVs, but I might be able to reallocate some of those into defense or special defense because I don't know. I might only need a certain amount of EVs in order to outspeed certain things that I want to outspeed for Cinderace. So there might be some opportunity to make it more bulky there. But yeah, Cinderace here doesn't really need to Dynamax because it gets max speed boosts from Gyarados. So by me focusing on making Cinderace as powerful of a physical sweeper as possible, I'm able to dent other teams with Cinderace too. And the only other thing to call out with Cinderace is Sucker Punch. This is a really useful move to have because sometimes it really helps take down Dragapults that might be faster than you, and usually Dragapults die within 2 Sucker Punch moves, especially with Life Orb equipped to Cinderace. So that's pretty much my team. Again, I reached top 25 with this team. I can share the EVs and abilities in the description below on this video, but another thing that you need to keep in mind when having a successful team is not only having an interesting and really viable team composition, but you also have to understand the abilities that the other Pokemon on the opposing opposing team might have. You have to understand potential decisions that they're probably going to make based on common movesets that they might have. And ultimately, it's also just having a lot of knowledge in regards to Pokemon competitive battling in order to be successful. So half of the success is coming from having a good team, but also knowing abilities, natures, whether or not your Pokemon can one-hit KO or two-hit KO the opposing team, whether or not you need to use Protect in certain situations or not. There's really a lot of factors that come to having a successful team. And again, I got top 25 with this team, and I think that's the ceiling for my team because I haven't been able to get past rank 24. So this team could probably use a little bit of an iteration, but for your team, hopefully this video helped out with discussing certain team compositions and strategies, and feel free to let me know if you have any questions on the Pokemon I've used here, the strategies I've had for dealing with Trick Room or anything like that. And then lastly, feel free to subscribe if you're looking for more Pokemon VGC content, because I'll be looking to upload a lot of Pokemon content related to competitive battles, VGC, or even just like casual gameplay. So yeah, feel free to follow, and I'll see you in the next video.